Yes, people, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. How are you? I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things that you love with those you love to do them with. It is Sunday. It's 11:21. I'm 6 minutes late. Apologies. I look like I've just woken up, or I look like I'm really hungover, but neither of those two things are true. I don't know why my eyes are looking so bloodshot. I've been up since 7. I was in bed at 7 or 8 or something like that. So, I don't know. Don't know why I look so bad, but how you doing, guys? How you doing? Welcome back. So we finished the season pre-final. Is it the final international break? This one, I think. I hope so. I really hope so. We finished the season. At the end of our game, we were in 3rd spot. Where are we now? Well, we are in 5th spot currently. We're in 5th spot currently. Let me get the old bad boy up. Problem is that there's about 2 or 3 points that separate 2nd from 11th. How's everybody doing, by the way? Smash the like button for me if you are coming in for your morning coffee or whatever it is you're doing, walking the wife, etc. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe, hit the notification bell. And do drop a comment or two. Let me know you guys are in the house and can hear me and everything. Big up to you, Anna Connick Arden. Big up to you, my man. Evening to you. It's morning to us. Please don't question Thomas Frank. It might hurt my feelings. Listen. I did my video last night. It was a bit of a rant, right? It was a bit of a rant. And there was nobody in the comments. It wasn't a bit of a rant. It was a rant. There was nobody in the comments after the video that was saying that I was wrong. In fact, most of the comments that came in were like, 100% agree with you, Sean. 100% agree with you. I feel the same way you do, yada, yada, yada. And yet, the likes to dislikes ratio was stronger than I think I've seen. You know, usually you get like, if you get, I don't know, say you get 500 likes on a video, you might get like 5 dislikes or 10 dislikes or whatever. That's obviously normal. So it was about 99, 98, 97%. I think the likes to dislikes ratio on the video I did last night was like 89%. So I think there was like, I don't know, 300 or something likes and probably like 35 dislikes. It's interesting that no one came into the comment section to tell me why I was wrong. And I encourage all that stuff, by the way. I love having the feedback. But a lot of people clearly didn't appreciate the fact that I was calling it out. And I've got to be honest. Guys. You know, I think that my stance on Thomas Frank has always been fairly. In fact, let me get rid of this for a minute. I'll come back to this. Let me do my opening monologue. My stance on Thomas Frank has always been open-minded. I was a little bit like meh when he signed. When we were looking at him, you know, I spending a lot of time with Johnny, obviously, on the Football Inc. and on this channel at the time. Johnny was a regular on this channel, I think, at the time when he came in. Maybe he wasn't quite as much a regular, but he's like all over Thomas Frank. He loves Thomas Frank, and I think he's a good example of a lot of what's happening in the fan base right now on both sides. Is if you took a strong stance on Ange Postecoglou and you were like wanting him out, and then at the same time you were very much on board Thomas Frank, then when Thomas Frank does badly or when the team plays badly, you're going to get like a load of people that were unhappy with Ange Postecoglou's departure, sacking, or the way in which certain content creators would represent Ange's time. And then they're going to lambast you and jump on you like you're the problem because you're the accessible thing. I always received it when it was Daniel Levy. When the Eze deal broke down, I had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 death threats. I had people wishing death on my dog. You know, as if I had something to do with Eze. You know, we don't even know if Daniel Levy had something to do with the Eze deal falling over. But it's just like an accessible thing, right? You can't tell Daniel Levy directly that you think the guy's a donut, or you can't tell, you know, Ange Postecoglou directly that he shouldn't have been sacked, or all that stuff. And so you go after the accessible avenues to be able to go after it. But then what happens is, then the people that are like that were big on Thomas Frank, that sort of the double down on Thomas Frank thing, they don't want to hear any negativity because they've got their guy and they want to defend it because they don't want to be seen as a flip flop. And then when a good performance comes out, they'll then say, like, what's that? Where's all the Frank haters now? Where's all the, where you come at me now, bro? Come at me now. And then when it goes wrong again, those people that received the, what was that? From content creators or from people in the fan base generally or whatever on Twitter, there's loads of little micro spats. Then those people come back and go, yeah, I'm still here, bro. Still here. Whereas myself, like I don't have like an angle on the Thomas Frank thing. I'm not married to him. I'm not married to his approval, his appointment. I'm open-minded. I think he gets time. I think he deserves a lot of time. I think that anyone calling for his head now is ludicrous. I think it's insane. Of course you shouldn't sack him. I see that bloke who's pretending like he used to be a Daily Mirror journalist, Jamie Brown or whatever, who uses an AI photo. He pulls out these like bomber exclusives and people lap it up for some reason. Thomas Frank's job is not under threat. The Tottenham board are going to give him time. It's like, what are we even talking about here? Of course, that's not something that's going to be an exclusive. Of course, that like it's waffle. Thomas Frank is doing a relatively good job in terms of the output, right? We're undefeated in the Champions League, one of only 5 teams in the Champions League to be undefeated. We've only lost 3 games in the Premier League. We're drawing too many games, by the way. We are drawing too many games. I've said this before 1,000 times. I think draws are a pain in the arse. They give you the illusion of a decent result, but actually it doesn't help you. And if output is what we're focusing on here, because the input factors are certainly questionable, right? Is the football appropriate? Is the football pretty? Is the football entertaining? Are these things, are we going about our football in a way that respects, the fan? The match-going fan, the fan that pays 80, 90 quid to go and see, are we playing a certain style of football that is considering whether or not they're getting value for money to some degree? If the answer to that is no, or it's not a priority, the results are all that matters, then you have people defending draws, which is not a loss. We've only lost 3 games all season. Yeah, but 3 or 4 of those games have been draws. And I think we've got 3 draws, right? It's the same as having 1 loss and 2 losses and 1 win. Draws don't help you. Draws are really important if you're at the bottom end of the table and you're scratching around for like 30 points, and you can go away and get a draw against a decent team or an opponent that's also in the relegation fight away from home, and you're like, well, they're not getting 3 points, so it's not like a big shift. It's not a 6-pointer. It's not on as even. Draws are important in that regard, but if you're fighting for Champions League spots, draws are a pain in the arse. I've got Chris in the house. Chris is going to come and say hello. A few people might be joining us today. Hello, Chris. How are you, my man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Can you hear me all right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can hear you fine, mate. Can hear you fine. How's your Sunday started?
Well, to be honest, I've just got up.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My bags, I've always got bags under my eyes, but they might be a little more pronounced than normal. But no, I'm all right, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm just sort of reflecting. I want to go through the game. I don't want to go like deep dive. I don't want to be one of these people that go in the 7th minute. There we had this chance in the 9th minute. Yeah. I want to go through it kind of broadly, but I also want to sort of figure out where the right place, where the reasonable minds are in the zeitgeist. And I've got a man on who's joining us now, Chris. You're a great referee, and you're a very reasonable and logical person. And then
we got a reasonable mind, and you invited this guy. Oh no.
We got Perchy on, who's also, listen, I think Perchy's also very balanced and very reasonable. He just happens to see the Thomas Frank conundrum, the current zeitgeist, a little bit differently to me. And so I think there'd be a nice little chinwag to see where is the right positioning, where should the average reasonable fan feel? Because, as I say, like when you look at the table, and I'll come. Perchy, how are you first of all, mate, before I finish my monologue? You okay?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on, Sean.
That's all right, mate. Thank you for coming.
It's very formal.
Yeah, it is very formal. Yeah, he's got his arms crossed, though. If you're a psychology major, they're saying that's a defensive stance. He's coming in.
No, never. Let's just let Frank do the defending.
He's very good at defending. He's just not very good at attacking, is he? Let's be honest. So, like, if you look at this, look at the table, right? So we finished our game yesterday in 3rd place, I think, and then since then Chelsea have gone above us. Sunderland have taken another point. Liverpool or City will go. Liverpool will either go above us If they draw, they'll go above us, or if they lose, City will pull ahead. Bournemouth can go above us. Palace can go above us. Brighton are going to struggle. And Everton have already played. So, but there's 4 points separating third spot from 12th. Yeah. It's very, very, very tight, isn't it? It's very tight, guys. And so when we're looking at draws, do we think they really help us? Are they excuses, or are they ways to justify what I consider to be really unacceptable approaches to the game of football at home? I don't mind it from away from home, but I think the way that Thomas Frank sets up at home is really despicable at times. You know, I think we had 0.13 GA from the two halves of football against Chelsea and the first half against Manchester United.
Yeah, I'll start on the league table. I think all the conversations are valid. I don't give a crap about the league table, because going into this season, really, and especially when the window's shut, I kind of in my head thought, we're not going to achieve anything. I'm not worried about, are we going to get top 4, top 5? I think you're appointing a manager like Frank for a longer term, and I'm more worried about what's the projection of this onto next season, really. So I'm worried more about how we're playing, what are the signs, and that's going to take a long time as well. So I think over any one game, we get so focused in almost scoring points on each other as a fan base. And I'm sure we'll talk about Odegaard as an example. You know, you're a big fan, I'm less so, but yesterday he played well, especially towards the end. So we'll get into.
Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Are you accusing me of being a point scorer whenever Odegaard?
No. I was just saying you like Odegaard. I'm less keen. This is linked to the whole league table thing. We like after every single game to worry about absolutes of this. We're absolutely correct. This guy's great. This guy's bad. This formation's right. This is wrong. We're going to be like this for quite a while, and we're going to have players and performances that are good in parts, crap in parts. And as a result, I don't care where we are in the league table, because I don't think we're good enough to be worrying about the top 5. I think it will regress to probably where we deserve to be, which is likely to be mid-table. That is absolutely fine with me. I'm only going to start to worry about the league table if we get drawn into a relegation battle,
which isn't going to happen.
Exactly. So that for me is all for the future. I'm more concerned with the foundations and building it for the down the line than I am. And as you say, it's so close that one week it can be, look, we're brilliant because we're top 5. The next week we're crap because we're 12th. I just don't think that's true. I'd rather judge on what I can see with my eyes on the pitch.
Just quickly before I bring Perchy in, you say like you're not so worried about the outcomes then, right? You're more worried about building the foundations. If you're because I was having this debate on Dan Potts' channel with a West Ham fan and an Arsenal fan and a Chelsea fan and a Liverpool fan, I think. And I was saying, like, I understand horseshit, turgid football that is set piece FC. I understand that Arsenal fans feel defensive about it, that they're the kind of people are looking at them as the barometer of being the representation of set piece FC. But there's loads of teams that are doing it.
Yeah.
But I understand that the call for them to do it, because they've been waiting for 5 years, building something for 5 years for a trophy, and this year they've got a real chance of doing it, right? And you saw yesterday, for example, Sunderland moved the advertising billboards 4 foot closer to the pitch, so that they couldn't do the long throw-ins, right? So that you're even seeing the counter tactics in the kind of shithousery game to try to counteract something that they're clearly doing. But like, if you're Arsenal and you have a realistic chance of a trophy, then by hook or by crook, get the monkey off your back, right? Like if it takes a set piece to do it, so be it. But if you're right, Chris, that we're going to end up somewhere 10th, 9th, 11th, 8th, whatever, somewhere around that, and you're not realistically going to win a trophy, and you're not realistically facing any jeopardy of relegation, and you're not realistically going to mount any kind of title challenge, or even a European pursuit that's going to be worth the money in your mind, then shouldn't there be some more focus on performance?
Yeah, but I think that both those things are unfortunately true at the moment. I agree with that, but the set piece thing is just the way football is right now. So if, as Tottenham Hotspur, if Danso's playing, why would you not get him to chuck the ball in long? By the way, the one thing I would say, and I was sat there really thinking at the end of the game yesterday, as exciting as the end was, I was still a bit bored And not just by Tottenham Hotspur, but just the whole way that football is going at the moment. I find it a little dull, but I get it because it's such a results-focused business. You can't turn your nose up to the opportunity to maximise what you can to score, and if that's lumping it in long to the big man or it's long throw-ins, unfortunately, it is what it is right now with the Premier League. So it would be mad to me that we weren't at least trying to make advantage of that, take advantage of it. But yeah, we need to be judging on far more. I don't think it's a negative that we're doing that. It's a negative for me as somebody who wants to be entertained watching football. But I fully understand why that's what we're doing and that's what the rest of the league are doing. But I hope the circle turns a bit more and.
Yeah, the pendulum has to swing back, mate, because it's got to the point of boring.
So far, I'd say this is the most boring season of football I can remember for a long time.
And yet, Perchy, the league table at this stage looks incredibly close, right? There's literally 12 teams at the moment. And there's one or two teams that are below that 13, that sort of third to 13, like the Newcastles, that there are a few points of dip, but they could come back into it and probably will. It's never been more wide open after 11, 12 games in terms of who will pursue the top spots. But for me, Perchy, I think Chris is saying the same thing. Football this season is bland and boring, and I think that's one of the reasons why the stadium's never full anymore. I can't even sell my ticket. Like I put my ticket up every week, and no one takes it. So I bought a season ticket. I don't want to go because it's rubbish, and I can't even sell my ticket.
Yeah, look, I can understand this, like the context of boring football. That's fine. I think it's in the eye of the beholder in the context of it all. I don't think it's relevant to the whole your tickets not being sold. I think that was happening. That was a regression in general. Like last season, for example, no one could do it. Even the season before that, like people were having issues flogging their tickets anyway. I think that it's just a trend that is happening. So I don't kind of put it on to what we are now. But look, I'll concede in the fact that maybe the football's not as entertaining as it is. I think just to sort of kind of touch on what Chris was saying was, who does play attractive football in the league? Like, what team sits there and goes, oh my God, I don't care that they are Leeds United. I love watching them play, win, lose or draw because they play amazing football. I use them as an example, but I don't think anyone in the league plays amazing football. Not even the Man Cities do. Not Arsenal don't. Chelsea don't really. Like Man United don't. So, and I think that kind of reflects into why the league table's quite close, right? I think there are more teams, whereas before you knew the sort of 6 teams that were going to roughly finish in the top 6, whatever order you roughly knew. I think it's very different now. I think you've got teams there is a good half of a table now that can finish anywhere between 4th and 10th. Like there is such a big gap, and I think there is a lot of it on there. My argument will always be when everyone wants to sit there and play this amazing football and all that lot. One, what are we saying that? Are we just saying players just play more attacking? I don't, like, in what context? Fine. First of all. Second of all, I'd argue, well, we start doing that and losing games, everyone then starts moaning because we're losing week in, week out. So I think there's got to be, fans have kind of got to sort of understand where we are at the moment. I don't think we've got the football players at the moment to sit there and play, create crazily expansive football. I think the manager probably acknowledges that in the way that he's setting up teams, right? So I can kind of concede on the part that we're not great at the moment on the eye, but you could argue when Arteta took over Arsenal immediately, we use that. I don't like using that analogy, but I'll use it for this one, for this conversation, was they weren't playing amazing football. They weren't good on the eye. You could argue they're not at the moment, but now they've kind of got the quality of player where they don't really care because they're winning most weeks, right? They're winning most weeks. They are favourites to win the league. They're favourites to actually win the Champions League at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the thing, though, Sergio, right? Like, Arsenal fans will tolerate this. I don't know how long Arsenal fans will tolerate it for. Like, George Graham played, famously, like, turgid football, right? Win 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Sure.
When he left and Arsene Wenger came in a couple of years later, I think it was, they went on mission of playing successful football that was also entertaining. And I think that Arsenal fans that are old enough to remember the first 10 years of Arsene Wenger, not maybe, or the first 8 years, whatever, maybe not the final 4 or 5, but they got used to a brand of football that was delicious to watch and was successful. Sure. And I think that most Arsenal fans will tolerate boring football for a season. I know some fans will say that's fine. Just football's all about that's the point of elite sports, is to win. And my response to them is always, yeah, that's the point of the elite sports to the players, to the manager,
I get it,
the owner. But you're not someone who puts their hand on the trophy. You're not a winner by proxy of supporting a team that wins, right? So this idea of like, oh, you're a loser's mindset to demand this or to not expect that or whatever, like, you know, it's such a weird extrapolation and a dislocation from any kind of reality. But I don't think that anyone will. I think that Tottenham fans, you know, were so happy to get the monkey off their back last year with getting that trophy. But that's like most people are kind of like forgotten about that now. And now it's like, what's next? Like the trophy's in the cabinet.
Sure.
Now let's get back to doing something else. And you know, I think entertainment to a fan is very important, mate.
I think you've got a point. I don't disagree. I think there's got to be a balance. So I think the problem is it can't go one way or the other, like directly. I think there's got to be a really fair medium in a sense, because let's be fair, we could sit there and play. Would we all be sitting here, us playing scintillating football but losing every week? We're going to equally go, hang on a minute, we're 17th again in the league. But we're playing expansive football when
where's the assumption that we're going to, if we play expansive football, we're suddenly going to lose?
No, that wasn't what I was saying. I was saying there's got to be a fair balance in the equally. Right. For example, if we sat there, are we going to be sitting there going, and we're 17th in the league, we've lost, we played 11 games, and we've lost 8 of our games for argument's sake. And we play lovely football, but we're 17th. We're not going to be sitting here having that conversation going, yeah, but we play lovely football. It's lovely to go and watch. Yeah, we got beaten 5-2 to Man United yesterday, but we play lovely football. So I think there's got to be a fair balance, and you've got to understand that. I don't think there's people that don't want us to be sacrificing league position just for the sake of being entertained, if that's the argument you want. But that equally, I do get your point. If you're going to go and spend a load of money and you're not going to be entertained, then you have a point to argue with it.
No, but I just don't. I don't think
fair balance. Surely,
I agree with you. I'm not advocating gung ho football, but I'm saying
no, I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are.
The setup of the team at home, and I wish I'd got screenshots of it yesterday because there was a never-ending amount of examples when Xavi Simons gets the ball on the halfway line in transition. Right, and we run the ball back. We pick the ball off of, say, Mbeumo, for example. We feed it up to Xavi Simons, and then you see Bentancur and Pape Sarr. They sprint to help him out, but then they stay behind him. Both of them stay behind him by design. Not one of them was given like Xavi Simons turns, looks up, looks to his right, and in the previous iterations, he'd given the ball to Brennan Johnson, who kicked it out into touch, right, like a donut. He looks to his left, and he sees Richalison. Mm-hmm. And he looks up the top and he sees Kolo Muani that's surrounded by 3 centre-backs. And so he takes the ball, he's looking around him, and you've got Pape Sarr and Bentancur that were standing like close enough to each other they could hold each other's hands. And neither one of them was given it's clearly by instruction. Because like Pape Sarr, at the start of the season, when he played his best minutes, was playing almost, we were playing in a flat 3, but Pape Sarr was the more advanced one. So his inclination and his best output was when he was more advanced. But yet yesterday he was held back, and so was Palhinha. Did I say Bentancur? So I meant Palhinha. So was Palhinha. And then when one of them did go up the top, it was Palhinha, and that was only after sustained horseshoe football where we were just passing it around the traps. And so to me, like, it's one thing to sit there and say we haven't got the players, which I think we do have the players to be able to do more than what we are. But it's another thing, I think the more clear, honest truth at home is that he is setting our team up not to lose. He's more scared about the threats of the opposition than he is the opportunity that our team presents when you look at their opposition. Like, he picked Jed Spence yesterday to play because he was more worried about Mbeumo than he was, let's see what Udogie and Odegaard can do against Mazraoui.
Look, that's a fair analysis on that. I don't necessarily disagree to the extent. I think I personally would have started Udogie. That would be I agree with that part, but I don't really think he got the team selection horrendously wrong. I think I always I pivot with the attacking lot, and I go, well, realistically, unless you've got, and if Kudus is available, he would have started. And I think Richalison, like, I think it's a toss up between any one of those that will play on the left. To be honest, I'm not really that bothered. I know you're Heisenberg and
change the game, mate. Change the game. Little bit point scoring. Point scoring.
Tell me all and all that. Your boy. I'm shocked you haven't been more shameless with it. Like sitting there begging your boys. I think we need to get
part of the reason for this show, mate. That's part of the reason for this show. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Last night I was calling out Thomas Frank. Today I'm going to switch my pivot and go straight into why I was right and everybody else was wrong. No, I'm only kidding. I'm not that shameless. You know?
No. Look, I thought fair play. I thought fair play to Tel. By the way, came on. I thought his goal was really good. I'm not hearing all the nonsense about a deflection. I thought it was a very, very good goal. Regardless, I think if you're gonna start using a deflection as your argument, it was
the movement, Perch. It was the movement.
The movement was fabulous, wasn't it? The movement was fabulous.
It's the single best thing I've seen him do in a Tottenham shirt.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. Odegaard, fair play to him. Again, my only criticisms, you know that I think on the ball, I think he's good. The second he gets one-on-one with a player, I always think he takes the safer option. I've noticed a lot of that. That worries me, but I can't argue. I think the shot he takes and can we? I think the one thing I want to touch on
his crossing stats are starting to add up.
As I said, I think the one thing I want to just see, and I think I just want to see someone like him go, do you know what? I'm going to take a player on now. If I lose the ball, I lose the ball, but I need to start showing that I can.
I think he has taken players on there. The stats are leaning towards. I hear the point before, but I think it's a bit of an outdated point. He took on 3 players, and he took on his six take-ons attempted against Copenhagen. 3 of them were successful. I think I'll look up the stats in a minute, but I'm pretty sure we did 3 or 4 yesterday as well. So there's
No, I don't disagree. I think he's the one. If you're going to mold a player right now when you can do it, I'm not against that. Look, I think we need someone at the football club needs to tell Richalison to keep his shirt on, because every time he does this, we concede. Like like someone has at the football club say.
Also, he got a yellow card for that, and he could have taken out the player when we lost the ball in transition that led up to the corner kick. And he couldn't do it because he was already on a yellow card. The double bone.
But no, I agree. But someone at the football club needs to say, if you score a late goal, stop taking your fucking shirt off. So
it's not the fact that there might be a correlation with conceding again that bothers me. It's just the absolute shamelessness of the guy.
Yeah.
As he is, and
I wasn't even. That I thought was common knowledge. I mean, that was absolutely ridiculously shameless. He did nothing. It literally bounced off him, and he's claiming it like he's just hit a worldie from 45 yards. But no, look, I think at the moment, I think we're doing all right. I think, look, can the style of football be better? Sure, but I do think we need to. I just think we need to be a little bit patient, and I'm not suggesting, Sean, you're not. I'm not suggesting that. I don't think anyone. I think very reasonable people are patient and can understand that. I think maybe we just got to wait and see how it goes. I think all Brentford fans. I've got good mates of mine who are season to gold, and I spoke to them in depth before we appointed Frank about it, and they said, look, at the beginning it won't be fun. There will be moments where you're sitting there going, yawn, but what they did say is that once he starts molding it, it took him a year, right? I mean, my mates wanted Frank out after the first year when he took over Dean Smith. Ironically, I brought that up to him when he got him promoted. And I went, weren't you the guy that said you wanted this guy sacked because he's crap? He went, yeah, that was a long time ago. So I think using that as an argument, you could argue, well, that's just Brentford, but this guy needs a bit of time here, not 3-4 months. No, I'm not suggesting you're saying it, but I do see so much in the fan base that are just like, get this guy out. He's clueless. He's only can do it at Brentford. Well, look at the players that he promoted and built at
Well,
Brentford. And
there's an argument there's an argument that we can challenge on that one in a minute, Perchy, because I think that
is there though?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, about the data scouting. Was it the data? Was it the? Because you can make the same argument about managers like Graham Potter. Was Graham Potter responsible for Cucurella? Was Graham Potter responsible for Caicedo? Because Graham Potter went on to Chelsea and didn't do fuck all. Went on to West Ham and didn't do fuck all. So maybe it was just the fact that these players were always destined to
the
be
model they had the same model under Dean Smith. Can you remember the players Dean Smith made better? Like, do you know what I mean? I mean, if you wanted to, I'm not saying that.
Did they have the same model? Tony Bloom wasn't in charge, was he?
Yeah, Tony Bloom's been there for a while. Tony Bloom appointed Dean Smith and appointed Thomas Frank as his number 2.
Oh, sorry, Matthew Benham. Sorry, my bad, not Tony Bloom. Matthew Benham.
Sorry, Tony Bloom's Brian. Sorry, Matthew Benham. Sorry, yeah. No, Benham's been there for a while, but no, look, you can argue, you could use that argument that it was that data, but the manager's still got to train them. There's a lot of players that, by the way, this data didn't necessarily work on, that they then let go. So it can go bit. I get your point though, but look, I just think Thomas Frank just does need a little bit of time. And again, I'm not saying you're not, but I think a lot of fan base at the moment are going way over the top. For me, I just want to see. I think I've always said this. I said this in the summer, so this isn't just a new thing for me. I think in the summer, I've always said, I said, this is the year of stability. Let's just get a manager in that doesn't make us so bad defensively that I hate watching us. You could argue maybe he's gone the other way, but maybe that's just a precaution. If I'll caveat this too, Sean. I'll let Johnny jump in. But if we're seeing this after 3 years of Thomas Frank, I'll go, okay, you've got an argument there. There's got to be a transition to something a bit better. But I can't really, in good faith, sit there and go, oh, I can't get this guy. This guy's crap, blah, 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 because we're playing.
No, but I don't think anyone's saying that, though, Perchi. I think that.
No, I'm seeing a lot of people saying it.
I think the people that, okay, well, there's always going to be an element, right? There's always an element of someone somewhere. Yeah. If you focus on the minutia, then you're gonna end up always pulling your hair out. But I feel like, Johnny, I'll come to you in just 1 second. I just got to do a couple of super chats. But Chris, I just want to ask you one last question before I bring Johnny in. Do you agree with me? I think that Perchi doesn't agree with me on this, but do you agree with me that there is very little sign that when the Tottenham fans that are the reasonable Tottenham fans that are just critiquing, not necessarily like throwing the baby out with the bathwater here, but the ones that are saying like, I'm fine with Thomas Frank, but I want to understand what the attacking on the ball game plan is here. Because it looks like we're very good defensively. Yeah. It looks like there's an over-egging of the pudding towards the structure, which is fine and great. And I know Johnny feels a certain way, which I'll come to Johnny in 1 second, Johnny. And by the way, welcome to the show. But just Chris, is there any part of you in the middle ground here that thinks that we're not seeing any element of or any iota of a visual game plan with the ball?
To some extent, I think you're right. I think I probably am in the middle ground. You've probably roughly summed up my view pretty accurately. But with one additional bit, which is I'm still prepared to be patient until he gets some of the players either back from injury or we get through a transfer window or two. Because I think there is a possibility, I'm not trying to profess that I know this to be the case, but there is a possibility that Thomas Frank is looking at this thinking it's very difficult to put those patterns in play right at this moment. Therefore, to kind of limp through to a point where you might get Kulusevski back and things might look a bit better, Solanke maybe, you might get a signing or two in January. To get through to that, he's got to make sure that we're not losing every week, right? Because that would create its own pressure. So I think that's a possibility in my head that I'm prepared to entertain and draw a conclusion further down the line when he has a sort of richer set of players to choose from. And if those patterns of play, like we saw yesterday, are still in place, that is then a problem. The biggest thing for me yesterday, which is just put it into different words, I think very basically what you said earlier. I was watching it thinking the lack of movement from this team is unbelievable. They were just stationary. I mean, you've called out the central midfielders, but I think it was largely true of most of the team. There were 2 or 3 times, weren't there, where Simmons got the ball and kind of drove with it. And you could almost physically see him go, well, what am I supposed to do? There's like no one to lay the ball off to. So, but I'm prepared to put up with it. So I agree with you, Sean. I've just got the patience until there are a few more options there. And it might not just be the likes of Kulusevski and Solanke, it might be getting more defensive options that might allow you to change formation a little bit. I don't think we're in that point right now where you can flip to a back 3 centre-backs because we've only got 3 centre-backs. So there's no point to me training all week. Let's say we want to do that. You train all week to play a 3-5-2, whatever you want to call the formation. 2 minutes into the game, one of your centre-backs gets injured and you can't carry on playing that way. You've got to then pivot to a flat back 4. There's no point doing that. So until he's got more flexibility, the injuries clear up a little bit. We've got a better quality in through transfers. I'm prepared to tolerate it. I don't like it watching it. But I'm also of the view that, again, very similar to what you said already, Sean, that me as a fan, there's a level to which I need to be entertained. Yeah. But it's not... They're in the business of winning football matches, so I fully accept that their responsibility is not to make me entertained as a fan.
Well, only until the fans turn. Yeah. And then the owners want money, the owners want the output, the owners want the results, the owners want the Champions League qualification. But if the fans get fed up with the football and they boo every time you lose, then the owners are also in the business of protecting themselves and using the manager as a shield. And so they are still at the whim of the...
on that. Just my last comment, because I'm sure Johnny's been in 10 minutes, hasn't said a word, is I don't accept, and I'm pretty sure we would all be on the same page, but a lot of the counter argument to that in the general chats and social media would be, well, you had that last season with Ange. No, we didn't. It was not entertaining attacking football at all under Ange, and it was absolutely terrible to watch. Notionally, the intention might have been to attack, but that went out the window a long time ago with Ange. We weren't doing it. We were ripped apart week in, week out. So I completely don't accept that as a counter argument. Not that any of you would put that forward.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I appreciate that, mate. And then you Perchy as well. Johnny, I'm going to come to you, mate. Let you get your thoughts off your chest, and then I'll do the super chats in a minute, because you have been here. Chris is absolutely right. You have been here 15 minutes and you haven't said a word yet. So let's. Yeah, what's your take, mate? How are you, Johnny? By the way, good to see you.
Perchy, nice to see you. Look, Ange was a philosophy that had no place in reality, in my opinion. Okay. And there lies the problem. And I think we are in the reality phase of Spurs. Did I enjoy yesterday? No. Did I think that we would win before I saw Kudus was playing when I thought he was playing? Yes, I thought we'd sneak a win. I think I went 2-1. But as soon as I saw Kudus missing, and the fact that we are trying to put square pegs in round holes, I still thought we could probably win it. I had my reservations, but when I saw Maguire absolutely on purpose tried to take out Kolo Muani in the first minute, I was the only one that seemed to be going mental.
I didn't see it. I didn't notice it.
And he's going, "Oh, I'm so sorry, son. Never mind. Get up, you." Yeah. It's old school. It's old school. If you ever watched football in the late 70s.
Was it an elbow, was it?
He made contact with his face, I'm here. Just know it. You ain't going no place. It's the sort of thing that used to happen in the 70s. With the 70s, early 80s.
Leave one on him.
Vinnie Jones, leave one on him. Yeah. And, anyway, that said, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. I think everyone's culpable in what happened yesterday. Xavi Simons can sit there looking like it's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with everybody else. It would be helpful if he could actually stop falling over every time he gets the ball. He must have slipped over about 10 times in the last 2 games. I maybe wear some studs that are long enough. But that said,
that's fair.
I do think, I don't like this. It's everyone's fault bar mine. You're part of the team. You've just come. You aren't the soul, right? You got to earn the right. Okay, so stop berating everybody. You got to deliver. Yes, he's absolutely right. There were no runners. There was no one running beyond the ball. It was very static. So I totally get his frustration with that. As far as Thomas Frank is concerned, as far as I believe, he didn't come to the land of milk and honey. He came in here knowing full well that this is a team that had a whole host of problems, right? From top to bottom, I think.
Really, Johnny? I've got to challenge this narrative because this is a narrative I hear a hell of a lot as well. That what more can he do with the players that he has?
No. I didn't say that. I said he had that. You can't say you lose 22 league games and finish 17th, and you're going to a place that doesn't have problems, right?
Well, unless you're of the mindset that was a false dichotomy because of the fact we were prioritising one and not the other, and we didn't care about the Champions League.
You can believe that, but this was going on way before January. Right,
that's one for your conspiracy theory channels, Sean.
Well, listen, listen. Look, for me, I look for progression. I saw regression under you know who over the period of time. Right, we didn't improve year 2 to year 1. Yes, we won a trophy, and you take that in isolation. Well done, Ange Postecoglou. I salute it. I enjoyed every moment of it, but remove that and I saw regression. And as Thomas Frank said, the one thing we have to arrest here is our defence, our set piece defence, and our ability to not concede goals left, right and centre. Has that been fixed permanently? No. Has it improved? 100% it's improved. Yesterday, last minute, it didn't improve, right? We saw numerous things. We saw lots of things, right? We saw Brennan Johnson lose Matthew de Ligt. We saw Bentancur being held with 2 arms behind Bentancur that he couldn't move. And then we saw Vicario, who, I'm sorry, he needs to command his box, right? Yes, he's made.
Yeah, he went back to previous settings, didn't he?
Yeah, he went back to previous settings, but we will, all I hear is Richalison took his shirt off and that's why we conceded the goal, right? He shouldn't have taken his shirt off, 100%, right? Be professional. I can understand the elation of scoring the goal, but we have to remain focused. And so that was a mistake, 100%. But there were 3 elements to that. 1, the referee should have seen. 2, Brennan Johnson should have been on his man. And 3, I'm sorry, Vicario, right? You had 2 things to do the entire game. 1, you watched the looping header from Buemo, but he's less to blame for that. But I do blame him for not commanding his box in those final seconds of the game. But going back to Thomas Frank, he has to start somewhere, right? And there's no point starting with an attack and having no defence. So through every great team there comes an attack, defense.
But how long are you willing to put? How long does that explanation hold?
Well,
water?
It's not an explanation, Sean. I'm not looking to make excuses because
that's why I said the word explanation, not excuse. Like,
yeah,
how long does the explanation hold water? Right.
Well, I suppose until we get some semblance of a team in place that look.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
Hang on a second. You can't have both ways. In my opinion, you can't have both ways. I'm listening to fans who are saying, Richalison shit, this one shit, Tel shit, this one shit, that one shit. The entire attack is shit. We need this, we need that, we need the other, right? Okay, we're missing this, we're missing that. Those same people are the ones that are saying, Frank is shit. He can't. He's got no idea how to.
That's not the case. It's not the case.
Right? I see them on my timeline.
In my experience, it's the people that are defending Frank that are saying what more can he do, and I'm saying this narrative that the team. Yes, there's lots of injuries. 100% there is, but that's why I'm so impressed with the depth of the squad. That despite having 10 first team injuries or first team squad injuries, you can still put out a guy who scored the winning goal in the Europa League final, was our top scorer last year. You can still put out a guy that cost 90 million quid to PSG, or 90 million euros to PSG.
Sure. You're not a fan of Brennan Johnson. Don't give me that.
Hang on. Let me put my point across. Right, Vicario. Yes, he splits the market split on him, but he's not like a horrendous goalkeeper. One of the best shot-stopping goalkeepers in the Premier League. I think most people would say that's shot-stopping. You've got one of the best, I think, inarguably one of the best right backs when he's on form in the Premier League playing. You've got 2 centre backs. Yesterday, Romero had an absolute stinker. The other day against Chelsea, Van der Ven had an absolute stinker. But generally speaking, those 2 centre backs are arguably, some people are saying that they're as good, or if not better, than like Saliba and Gabriel, right? So like they're up there. I know that I don't agree with that personally, but they're up there with the relation, the chemistry. And on the left back situation, you have someone that I think you have two options that most people in the fan base are not looking to improve on. No one's really talking about getting a better left back. You've got Polinia, who's everyone in the Tottenham fan thinks is one of the best DMs in the Premier League. I concur. You have Kudus, who everyone waxes lyrical about. You have Xavi Simons that everybody waxed lyrical about, who before he came, he's taken a bit of time to assimilate. You do have, this is, boy, all this whilst we have 10 injuries, you do have a geezer that PSG paid 90 million euros for, starting up front. And on the left wing, you have a guy who could have had a guy starting yesterday. They didn't. Everybody's written off apart from me.
And you think this is all great? You think
the player he is. So my argument is that the squad that we put out yesterday is nowhere near as bad as people make out. And yes, there's an argument.
I don't agree, Sean.
To it.
I don't think it. I think it's a bit. I think there's a bit of middle ground in what you're sort of saying. So I don't think it was a horrendous lineup. I think the point what Johnny's trying to make here is we've not seen the best 11, whatever the best 11 is, under Thomas Frank.
Not once.
So I think we've never seen it. So we don't know what it's like
under Ange, but everyone lost patience.
Hang on, no. I don't agree with that. We did under Ange, and we were losing with or without injuries under Ange. There is as much evidence to prove.
People didn't give Ange the people that wanted Ange out that are now on the Thomas Frank train, and I have to defend him because I'm getting the heat from those that I previously got the heat from for saying I wanted Ange out. Like, there's a little bit of hypocrisy or inconsistency in the narrative. The people that said
hypocrisy?
Because he doesn't get the same, like last season, Ange didn't have problems with Decky or Maddison necessarily the whole season, but he did have problems with his back four.
Yeah. But there's one other point though. Coach made a point on that, Perchy, quickly. But I sort of agree, Sean. I see that. But that was a year or more in with Ange. And Ange had... The thing that can be true of both of them, which is where I think your hypocrisy thing that you're calling out is...
Inconsistency. Inconsistency.
Hypocrisy is...
The players on the pitch were better than they were showing. So when we were losing to Ipswich and Leicester... I don't give a shit about the injuries. We were way better than them. And
we didn't have injuries against Ipswich. That's the irony, right?
We rested players.
But I think you can argue the same now, right? That last week's performance against Chelsea in particular was not acceptable and not good enough for the players that are on the pitch. But Frank's only been here 2 minutes, so I can tolerate that now. If that's happening in 12 months' time, I'll have the same criticism that I had for Ange.
I think you've taken the words what I was trying to say. I think if we're seeing this over a mounted time, you go, okay, we can then have much more deeper conversation with it. I think, as I said, what I was trying to get at was that when we use the term of the difference is when Ange had injuries, the one thing we didn't see was anything changing. At least what we're seeing with Thomas Frank is going, okay, cool, we've got injuries in certain areas. I'm going to try and find the way to get the best out of what I have.
Drop Bentancur, Perchy. Drop Bentancur.
Well, Bentancur was the one. The irony was Bentancur's a great one. Bentancur was the arch villain about a few weeks ago about how he's so boring to play. We missed him.
And you know what's become true now, Perchy? You saw it yesterday. It's not the player. It's the setup, which is why I'm bringing it back. I never had a crack at Bentancur, by the way. I was never someone that was like Bentancur. I don't rate Bentancur.
You're not a fan of it, though, are you?
I'm not a fan of the player particularly. I'm a fan of the old version.
I'm not against getting a better player than him.
I was never someone that said Bentancur's the issue or this double pivot thing has to change. I was someone that was just saying Thomas Frank is setting this double pivot up with a rule. Let Xavi go forward. And it's like we've got a bank of 7. We've got Polinia, a bank of 8. And then the other 7, and the other 4 have got to figure out the on-the-ball stuff themselves. You get the ball to Xavi, and then everybody else stays back unless there is a sustained period of controlled possession that is horseshoe, or you get a throw-in, or you get a free kick, or you get a corner kick. In that environment, then we move forward. And doing that at home,
a lot of open play goals, though, right? But we've scored a lot of open play goals, no? when we sit there and say, "Oh, we only,"
a lot of the open play goals have come from the recycles of corner kicks.
have we got evidence? Is that true? I haven't seen the statistics on that. So
can I just tell you one thing against Frank, because people in the room seem to think that I'm completely blind. I go to games home and away, right? I ain't blind, right? I know what shit football is. I know what shit is, and I know what cream is, right? And I ain't watching cream, right? I'm watching shit, okay? I watch cream versus Manchester City, and I watch probably a bit of cream against Leeds and maybe West Ham, right? I know what I'm watching. But I'm trying to say here that, even yesterday, do you know why we did better in that final 20 minutes? Everyone's going on about the changes. Personally, the difference was Casemiro actually dominated that midfield. He had everything going on, and he was unbelievable yesterday. And the game changed when he went off injured. When he went off injured, everything opened up, right? And if you look historically at Manchester United's games, right? Manchester United, when Casemiro, because I thought myself, Casemiro is a liability, right? I looked into the data and the stuff on Casemiro, and when Casemiro plays in that Man United midfield, they're a different team to when he's not there. And I'd say when he went off yesterday, the game opened up for us and we exploited it. But that's football. There are
a couple of other things as well. A couple of other things that went in our favour when they took Mazraoui off and moved Diallo to that right wing back. At that point,
to bring on Sesko, that was wildly weird. I couldn't work out what they were doing there, bringing on Sesko for Mazraoui. That was so odd.
That was my point on Odegaard.
Right? Sesko was injured.
No, but when Sesko came on,
they
brought Mazraoui off. I was like, who's going to go right back? What they drop into a back four? It's very
what they're trying to do is to give us something else to think about, right?
No,
listen,
it didn't make much sense to me as a tactical pivot. Just like
set up as a 3 though, did he? They kept reverting to a 4 and at times 5 at the back. That's why we couldn't get anything going. We couldn't get. Listen. Will we shit in that first half? Yes, we had one shot on target. We didn't have a shot on target. Man United had one. And the only reason they had that one shot.
This is the point, mate. This is the point. And thank you for landing on it, for helping me land on it. And I know Chris wants to come back in. I'm going to say my point. Just quickly, I want to let Chris finish his point, and then I've got to do the super chats because I'm about 45 minutes behind on them. But this is the point. Everybody's telling me that United are some monster threat, that United are back. United are bang fucking average. They are so average to me. They are such an average team. Yes, they have good players, but they have a donut of a manager who doesn't know how to tactically work it out. Just because they had 3 wins on the bounce and they started to look a little bit pretty, everyone was like, oh God, it's United. We have their number. We've marked their card for not just last season, we beat them 4 times. We beat any team that we play that has Manchester in their name, we own them, home or away. And we took that. And this is the point.
They just beat Liverpool.
They were bang average yesterday, as I suggested they were. They just what? They
beat Liverpool. They beat Chelsea, and they absolutely smashed Brighton.
Brighton, didn't they?
They smashed
Brighton with Nottingham Forest. Like they're bang average, mate. They're a shit team.
Away from home. Yeah, away from home.
Ago, Johnny. 2 months ago, the Amorim's looked at the fucking same chewing gum mark on the Grimsby bench.
Yeah, I know that.
They aren't that good. They're not that good. And yet, for some reason, half of the fan base, and clearly Thomas Frank, thought when he did his SWOT analysis, his thought was at home, let's pick a team that is concerned more about their threats than our opportunities. And that's where my concern is. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not Frank out. I'm not losing my shit. I agree with everyone, patience and a couple of windows and build the team and get the injury. I get all that. But it's still okay to sit there and call a spade. And a spade for me, Tottenham Hotspur at home should not be intimidated by Manchester fucking United. They are a dusty football team.
21 games. 21 games, Sean. This is a malaise that's been going on for far too long, right? I don't know whether there's a curse. I don't know if someone needs to go and piss in the corner of the stadium. I don't know what it is, but 21 games. This has been going on. The only teams we've beaten since the 3rd of November at home in the EPL, in the Premier League, 21 games.
So the way to fix that. So the way to fix that is to play boring football.
Right, hang on. We've beaten Aston Villa, we've beaten Burnley, we've beaten Southampton, and we've beaten Man United. That's it. That's it. We've lost to Ipswich, we've lost to Leicester, and we've had good.
So one of the 3 teams that we beat was the team we played yesterday, and we set up more concerned by them than what we could do to them.
But if we had some sort of attack, look, if Kudos I'll tell you what, if Kudos Mawani and we had that team set and Odegaard, whatever, set up yesterday, I'd have maybe been more critical of the way we sort of adapted.
He could have had Odegaard, mate. He set us up. The reason he didn't play Odegaard was because he didn't play Udogie. And the reason he didn't play Udogie was because he was more scared of Mbumo than the idea of Tottenham taking on Mazraoui. And that, to me, is where I question his motivations. I think he sets up not to lose. I think to him, a draw is a good result. I heard him after the game say he thought he played really well. I was like, what are we doing here? Yeah, I think he's still in Brentford mode. I think he thinks a point against United
Why
is
does it relate to Brentford mode?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think that's fair at all.
He thinks a point against United at home is a good result. It's not.
I mean, you could argue though. We were
Sean
30 seconds away from. No, I think you could argue. What? Here's the argument though. So far, I'll take on what you sound bored, Sean, but you could argue though we were 30 seconds away from beating Man United. So you could flip
we
it.
Didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve to win.
We were the better. I thought we were the better team. We were the better team
in that game.
No, I thought we were the better. I thought we were the better team. We had more chances than they did. And not being funny, if the Bolivian donkey up front was able to actually head a ball that was inches from his head, we're going 1-0 up, and it's a different conversation. I mean, I just think here's the argument. I said, what is the conversations we have now if that corner gets defended like we expect it to, and flappy arms Vicario doesn't flap in it? If he saves that, are we having this conversation, right? Like, I think. Look, I get it. I get it. Look, do I want us to be better at home? Of course I do. Of course I want us to be winning games at home and stuff. I just think at the moment, look, if we're seeing this in 12 months' time, Sean, I'm probably much more on.
I'm asking. So how long do you get? So you're saying in 12 months?
I said this season.
Yes.
This season, I want to see how we get on this season, and then next season. That is the real serious judgments where I go, well, hang on, we've got to be doing better.
So you'll tolerate anything this season?
No, we don't.
Within reason. If I won't tolerate us getting battered every week, beaten every week. No,
Johnny, stop being so aghast at my suggestions. I'm trying to nail down some clear, concise expectations. Sure, you're saying I'm giving him a year of what? A year of turgid at home.
As long as we're not getting battered every week. If we're getting battered every week, then the conversation's there.
If we're drawing 1-1, if we draw 1-1 to Wolves or teams like Wolves, when Leeds come to town, when I see Wolfies in the house, when Forest come to town,
he's that most shameless of them all.
If we draw to Forest, but we play turgid football, you're okay with that because he's in his first 12-month period.
No, I think the key bit for me is we've got to start winning some more matches. 100%. I think you can't keep going playing at home and not. Wolfie, get out of here! Get out of here! Are you on about 16th manager yet? Who have you got? Who's next in charge? Billy Davis? Is he in charge?
Wolfie, this lot want Ange back, right? They want to go 22 games. Wolfie, tell them what it's like. Tell them what it's like. Remind them. Season 3 is always better than season 2, is it? I ask. Yeah. Honestly, look, listen, I've said right from the beginning, I don't believe any manager, no matter who they are, can come into a team that's lost 22 league games, 26 games, come in and in 3 months flick a switch and make it all better with 10 injuries. Now, I think you're over-egging the 22 league games. That's in context to the injuries, right? Okay. Not every single injury is relevant to the team because you can have someone who's not playing or who's not going to get any minutes to the game. I think someone like Berghvall, for example, would have been handy in the last couple of games, definitely against Chelsea, I believe. I definitely believe Kulu, I definitely believe Solanke would have been a bonus to us. Definitely Kudos yesterday. You could probably argue that 4 or 5 would definitely make a huge difference to that team. Can we agree on that?
No.
4 or 5 of those 10 injuries. You guys.
I mean,
no.
Well,
Can't agree on
yeah,
that.
I think so. I think I agree with what Johnny said. Like,
Percy, just sorry, mate. Just speak real quick because Chris is so polite, and he's waiting to say his point. I interrupted him.
He's never in private.
I just want to get Chris's point, and then I have to do the super chats. I'm an hour behind.
Go on.
Chris, finish your point, and then we do the super, and then we'll get back at it. Chris.
I mean, I was talking ages ago about Odegaard, but the only couple of points that spring to mind from what you guys have just said to respond to Perchy about would we be having the same conversation if we defended the corner? I think we should be. That was kind of my point about I don't give a crap about the league table. So, like a last minute scrambled equaliser against Wolves didn't make that game any better. If we
100%.
defended that corner, it doesn't make that game any better. And I'll be honest about what I thought I saw yesterday. I thought slightly against what I'm not saying United are a great team, but I thought they were really comfortable defending against us until some of the changes that we talked about were made. Sesko went off. Casemiro went off. They put Diarra right wing back. Then all of a sudden, it swung it in our favour. But I definitely don't think that we deserve.
You're not giving any credit to Odegaard coming on, changing the game.
Well, I don't think he did, Sean. In that first 30 minutes. I think he was almost anonymous. He put one great cross in for Romero that could have ended up in a goal.
What are we doing here?
Almost anonymous. 15 minutes, he was brilliant. But until that point, you go and find me what he'd done. He was barely on the ball. The last 15 minutes, I'll hold my hands up and say...
Agendas have got to agenda. Agendas are agenda. Chris, I didn't think you'd be
true, Sean. If that was true, I wouldn't be saying that in the last 15 minutes, he probably had his best 15 minutes in a Spurs.
Yeah, because you're forced into giving him some credit because he was man of the match.
Well, I could say your agenda's agending because you're not recognising the fact
that
you know how much you wanted him to have his speak. He's having his speak.
Sean Ober. Man, honestly, it's ridiculous. Odegaard talk show.
He's a baller.
Yes, man.
He lost the ball and set up a counter-attack for Man United in the first 30 minutes is what he did.
Honestly,
Wilson Butler.
Odegaard talk show. Shameless.
Let me do the super chats. We run the chats. Big up to you, Blaine. Sorry, mate, this is an hour behind, buddy. I hope you're still alive. Sean, you reckon there's any way Heathrow will release security footage to see me sprinting last night? Will be a spectacle to behold. Listen, I don't want to spoil his story. When he's feeling a little bit more alive, he's going to come on and tell us what happened. He's already told me. But let's just there was punctures in a taxi. There was car accidents. There was scuffles and trouble. And there was generosity from the ticketing people, the air traffic control people, to let him just make his flight. Never try and get an in and out game at Tottenham. Big up to you, Blaine, mate. Remember for 26 months. What a generous guy you are as well. And he has come back in with a £20 super chat as well. Thank you so much, Blaine. Unbelievable, mate. Super generous. He says the lack of movement yesterday was absolutely shocking. The number of times we broke the line in midfield and there was no option other than sideways or backwards was horrible. Also, marking from both goals was terrible. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because everyone's celebrating Thomas Frank's defensive resilience and stability in the hope that we can gloss over the fact that we're not doing anything with the ball. But actually, the things that maybe cost us last night were the things that he's apparently been working on tirelessly in an effort to try and turn this horrendously slow oil tanker that you guys are making out that Tottenham Hotspur are. And they are not. They are not. Tottenham Hotspur's got a very good team. We can still put out 11 on the pitch despite 10, 11 injuries. That is competent. We have got a good squad. So this narrative that we're not capable of anything more than we are is madness. Thank you so much, Blaine. I completely concur with you, mate. The movement was yesterday was shocking. The passing was and the setup of the midfield was archaic football. Let's see what Grumpy Pete is saying. Big up to you, Pete. How you doing, mate? Good to see you, buddy. He says Butler's bang on the money. Oh, look, maybe I'm Grumpy Sean then.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'll do the math and change my status. I love Pete. Thank you very much, Pete. He says performance is the most important thing at the moment, not the table. You can appreciate long-term issues, but still call out the things that are wrong. What was that, Chris?
That's what I said. That the league table wasn't important.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's fine then. So you're Grumpy Chris. Grumpy Chris.
I'll go plan.
He's no, listen, I agree. Performances are. Listen, I think you cannot treat the fans, the match-going fans, like that they're the cost of their ticket is irrelevant in the pursuit of just their own goals. The football stinks at home, Johnny. It stinks, mate, and it stunk for a long time.
Man United, right, are playing one game a week. They got one injury. We got 10, right? I think the plan ahead, the thing to do now, is if in advance we can sack the manager after Frank now, that might save a lot of time. Let's sack him in advance.
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why is it the criticism of your boy?
It's not criticism, mate. I can understand the criticism. I've been joining the criticism. That needs to be improved.
Let's not throw the baby out. Let's not go to these extremes that like 1% of the fan base that are saying Frank out.
It's not 1%, mate. It's not.
Whatever, it's 2%, but it's not more than 10%, is it?
They're in the room. There's more than 1%, Sean.
Listen, I want to hear ones and zeros. I want to see there's 450 people in here. So if you've got access to a keyboard, I want to see 450 responses. Ones and zeros. If you are Frank out, then hit 1. If you are not Frank out, hit 0. Okay? And I guarantee you, Johnny, unless there's shenanigans going on, there's going to be at most about
channel, mate.
10. No, mate, my channel, listen, my channel doesn't have agendas.
Right, are you telling me, look, all I've seen on my timeline, right? All I'm seeing, I'm going in there, got to get this clown out, got to get this clown out. I'm scrolling down. It's like to say it's not happening is bollocks.
Because you cultivated an audience of people that want to come after you, mate. That's what it is. Your algorithm is
no, it's not to do with my algorithm, mate.
Don't you talk about my algorithm like that.
I'm franking. Right, I'm franking. I'm not going to sit here and just say to him that was a good game when it was a shit game. I've come out of the stadium and I've clearly said the football's not good enough. It needs to. Yeah, I'm the waffle merchant, and you.
I'm going to come back to the zeros and ones in a second. Let me just finish this off. Big up to Big D. He says, I like Frank, but too many strange starting 11s in my opinion. Yeah. I don't disagree. I think that yesterday he got the starting 11 wrong. I don't care about the midfield too. I'm fine with Sarr and Pellegrini. I'm fine with that. That's fine. I don't like the way they were encouraged to play football, but he got the left-hand side entirely wrong. Entirely wrong, especially without Kudus. What are you expecting to happen on the right-hand side and the left-hand side with Johnson and Richalison, and then you hook the two players, one at half-time and one after 70 minutes, who are not capable of creating or doing their job, and they're blamed by hook or by crook. The fact that they were substituted is a representation of this isn't working, you haven't played well, let's get you off. And the fan base at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium were bang on the money to boo the substitution. They weren't booing Tel coming on, they were booing Thomas Frank for once again making out like Xavi Simons was the problem. He wasn't the problem, he was the victim.
Did he have a good second half, Sean? Did he have a good second half, Sean? Yes or no?
He had a great first.
Did he have a good second half? No, he didn't.
I wouldn't have brought off Simons for me. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I genuinely do. I think he was brilliant. I'll call it an agenda all you want. Xavi Simons, I think
he's definitely getting better and better, but he gets hooked every game because the team is set up to not help him.
I agree to some extent, but I think we love using hindsight, right? So it's easy to say he got the starting 11 wrong yesterday in hindsight because Odegaard ultimately did do well and change the game. So we can use that hindsight to go, look, it was wrong, even though we've played Odegaard and he's been shit many a time. But if we're going to use that barometer, you've then got to say, well, actually, because I agree, when Simons came off, I thought it was mad. But actually, those subs changed the game in our favour. So what is it? You can't apply the logic on one and then not the other.
You set up for the first 70 minutes not to lose, and then you bring on the players to try and scrape a win. You give them the chance from the start.
And those subs turned it in the game. We were 2-1 up as a result of the subs.
We might have been 3-0 up had Odegaard started the game. Different reality.
If buts, maybes. You can't play on if buts, maybes, though, Sean.
I can play on if buts and maybes anytime I want, Perch.
Sean's channel. Let me tell you.
Sorry, apologies. I'll conform to Odegaard talk.
No, you're fine. You're fine, man. That's why I love it, Perchy. I love it.
Odegaard is the greatest. He is amazing.
One second. I had to say it. Better. Now you're learning. Now you're learning the trade. Now you know the agendas have got to agenda in a certain way. Let me just quickly do the super sticker train to Dino. Houdini, where you been, mate? You've missed the last couple of streams on Football Inc. and on on this channel. Chew to you, buddy. Chew to you. Appreciate you, Dino. But your absence has been noted. It's been noted and missed, mate. Not because of the lack of super sticker, just because of your presence hasn't been there, mate. And I miss you. I like the chats coming on. Let's just quickly, I want to pivot back to Johnny.
Sean, can I just address something? Mark Nevin and the rest of you. Sean, I can't listen to Johnny anymore. I have to turn off. He's a moron, right? I ain't leaving, right? I ain't
going anywhere.
I'm going nowhere, right? If you don't like me,
Yeah, Johnny's not going anywhere. Come on, guys, show some respect to the guys in the chat, the guys on the channel. You know, it's respect. Johnny the Francosexual says disintegration. I like that name though. Good name. Let's just say Johnny suggested that more than 20%.
Frank.
So I asked to see the zeros for Frank, not Frank out, and the ones for Frank in. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're already at 100% zeros. There's another 10 here.
There's at least 2 ones I saw.
Is there 2 ones?
Sean's one in there. Sean's one is in there somewhere.
Foxy's
lucky I have access to a thing. I can't do it if I have to.
Foxy's a Newcastle fan.
Sean wants Odegaard to be the manager.
Jimmy MRV, Jimmy Merv is the first one who's a Frank outer.
Frank out.
Matthew Ball's not bothered. Sean the Boss is Frank out. Okay, so we've got 2. We've got 2. See, we've got 3. Ian JD as well. We've got 3. We've got 3 outs amongst probably.
And another one there.
Is there a few? Yeah.
There's a few more popping up.
Listen, it depends where you go. I can show you a whole chat. They're all Frank out, right? All 27 of them. And I'm in the chat and I can't actually listen to it. I'm still in the group.
It's the social media world, Johnny, though, isn't it? Like, I go like you. There's none of that in the stadium.
It's like a sheep. It's like a herd mentality. Look, I'm not going to sit here and defend Thomas Frank for a crap performance. I'm not going to sit here and defend any player on the pitch for a crap performance, whether I like him or not. But you know, I just feel there needs to be a bit of a balance. That's all I'm saying. And I believe in Frank long term. Right now, it's very hard to sit there, pay your money, and watch that football. I totally get it. I'm just a bit balanced, probably because, you know, I'm up and down the motorway watching us win away from home. And so that sort of balanced it off. Whereas last season, I was going home.
What's the question, though, mate? How you're going to all these games and you're satisfied with what you're seeing?
No, what did I say to you? No, I understand. No, I didn't say I was satisfied with everything I'm saying. I've just said the complete opposite. Just said complete opposite. I said, look, I've got what I have is when I'm going to away games and traveling for hours, I'm seeing that balance. I still travel for hours, but far less going home. But last season, all I had was 26 losses. All I saw was me coming out of every ground in the country, more or less, saying we were shit, we were crap, we were shit, we're clueless, we're getting worse and worse and worse. Thankfully for Tottenham Hotspur, there were 3 teams a lot worse than us. Otherwise, we really would be in the mud. Remember, we are the first team to lose 22 games in the Premier League and not get relegated. Just remember that.
Yeah. Just quickly, Maisie, Sean, do you think we should play 3-5-2 against Arsenal away? If so, does that mean Odegaard drops back to the bench? First of all, if you do play a back 3, you haven't got to play a 3-5-2. You could play a 3-4-3, which is how Conte did it. I want us to play a back 3 when we've got the players back, and I don't know if we're going to have anyone back, and I don't know if we've spent any time. I think Chris was right. You know, if we're spending time training and practicing for a back 3, and then you can't really implement it, maybe that's something for next season. You know, ultimately, because if we're still in Europe,
the second half of this season, right?
Well, depending on how we do in Europe, right? And I'm still hopeful that Tottenham are going to get into the top 8, let alone the top 24 in the Champions League. So. If we do qualify into the later stage of the Champions League, then we're going to be playing midweek games twice a week for the foreseeable, aren't we?
Is he injured? Because obviously I haven't watched it back on TV.
No, he's fine. Apparently, he's fine.
He's fine, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Apparently so. But then he's going to go off to Argentina in either way, isn't he? So let's be honest.
Of course, yeah, 100%.
He wasn't going to fucking not go to Argentina today. He's straight out of there. He had an absolute shocker yesterday, though, Johnny, didn't he?
Awful.
Yeah. I mean, my God, his rage at Papa. Him and Micky van der Ven's rage at Pape Matar Sarr for not clearing the ball. was so intense, and that's why that rage. We haven't seen that sort of mad cootie red mist descend on a while, but he could have easily, had he misconnected, gone off. But listen, for me, Casemiro was a turning point. Him going off, he seemed to nullify everything we were doing in the middle of the park. Personally, I think we quite missed Berghvall. His busyness, his industrialness, getting on the ball, closing down, his non-stop running. I think we shall see. Hopefully, he'll be back for Arsenal. We should be back for the Arsenal game. Might make a difference to us somewhat. But,
how does he play in that game, Johnny? You're going to line up with Palhinha, Bentancur, and Simmons, aren't you?
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about freshening up, like options on the bench to keep it fresh. I thought Arsenal, for the first time, they looked at. I actually hate watching Arsenal's mythology. I can't stand watching Arteta on the line. The guy's trying to take a throw in, and he's blocking him, and he's going like this with his windmills. All his players diving on the ground, screaming at every challenge. They're in his face. They know how to manipulate, and Sunderland gave it to them yesterday. They played them at their own game. I love that physicality, and I think when we play Arsenal in a couple of weeks' time, I want to see us right at them, right in their faces.
Not a chance, mate. We don't. I agree with you, but I just don't think we have that intensity at all right now. I don't see it.
Physicality, maybe the physicality. I don't know.
I've not seen us put in that sort of performance. I mean,
we haven't got.
When was the last time we did anything like that?
Yeah,
maybe we can. Maybe we can get it. Maybe we can do it. Who knows?
Palhinha can do it. Romero can do it when he's controlled.
Porro can.
Porro, yeah.
Bentancur's got a nasty side. Bentancur's definitely
got a nasty side, and Kudus can handle the physicality. Not sure about the rest.
I definitely think the one who can't be mentioned up front, who takes his shirt off, likes a bit of physicality.
He doesn't. He just rolls around on the floor.
No, I disagree. He doesn't.
No.
He's one that will fall on the floor at a blow of a breath on him.
By the way, you know, a lot of the reason why he doesn't get these free kicks is because players are a bit stupid. The ball's in the air, and he's looking at the other player. He'll run into the other player and then fall down. But the referee's not looking at the ball. The ball, like I used to train my refs, the ball doesn't commit any offences. You watch the players. So when you see Richarlison's not looking at it and he's running into the other player, you're never going to give him a free kick. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, it is.
Wolfie, how long do you think Sean Dyche is going to last in the job?
Before Christmas?
Wolfie's still in the chat, is he?
Will he be given 3 months?
Is Wolfie still in the chat?
I thought he was.
He was in the chat earlier. Yeah. If you're still there, Wolfie, let us know. That down in. It could be worse, boys. It could be worse. You could be Wolfie, who likes to point to those 2 stars on his little badge in his room.
Oh, he's shameless.
Marinakis banged up abroad.
Listen, I want to ask you this, right? Just quickly, because I don't want. There's a couple of last things I want to talk about. They've got maybe, I don't know. Have you guys got 15 more minutes on you?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'll do 15 minutes.
Cool. So we talked about how close the season is from, say, I don't know, Chelsea down to Villa, right? Like I say, any of those teams are capable. Everton's looking capable. Brighton on their day can beat anybody. Palace, we know how dangerous they are. United, I mean, I don't rate them, but I know that they're on a decent curve. I'm beating in 5, whatever. We know Bournemouth. I mean, look at Bournemouth. They haven't played yet. They slipped down from 2nd to 7th. They could be back in 2nd again this afternoon if they win. And then if you come down here past 12th, and you've got Newcastle United that are underachieving, and you could make the argument that Wolves are underachieving. I don't think Wolves are going to be any way, shape, or form fighting for anything more than either a relegation battle if it continues to be terrible, or mid-table at best. Would you guys agree that these 3? I'm not sure if you can see my cursor. Fulham down to Wolves. Those are the 3 teams that are going to get sucked into it, or do you see anyone else above? Like, could you see Brentford getting sucked into it still? It's not. I mean, it's still so early, but I mean, 10 points separates. 5 points separates 12th from a relegation battle, right? So, what are the teams that are realistically caught up in a relegation battle here?
Well, I think the teams, the bottom 5 are definitely in a relegation battle. Fulham's an interesting one. They're in a weird, like everyone's
Silva wants out. Everyone, I think Silva wants. I don't think
everyone
Silva
in the summer was telling me about how Marco Silva they wanted him, and he looked awful this season. Look, the one people won't like to hear this because of the way they are at the moment, but don't be too shocked on Sunderland. I don't think they'll go down, but I have a weird feeling. Me and Chris spoke about this a few weeks back that those teams that start really, really well. Remember Blackpool a few years long.
There is absolutely no chance that Sunderland are going down this year.
No. I didn't. No. I didn't say they'd go down, but I could see them dropping down the table. I can't see them consistently staying there.
No, of course not.
They're halfway there. They're halfway there.
They're losing 5 players, Perchy, for AFCON.
Yeah, look. I think you'll.
I heard it was up to 7.
Well, it could be,
yes.
But Sean and I, not wish to blow our own trumpets, but on Football Link, that channel shouldn't be mentioned.
Football Link, I didn't know about that channel. I must have to subscribe to that one. I haven't heard of that one before.
It's a new channel, but on Football Link, we've constantly gone on.
He's still there.
Oh, here he is. Here he is.
We've gone on about Granit Xhaka, I think, was one of the best signings of the summer. I still maintain it. He was absolutely fantastic, mate. Along with Mascara, probably, for Arsenal.
See, I look at I'm so surprised that Wolves are doing as badly as they are. I really am, because I think they've got a decent team.
I'm not. I mean, I'm from Wolverhampton. A lot of my family are Wolves fans, so I'm quite sort of close-ish to it. But the problems run far deeper. It's very, very similar actually to the Spurs situation in terms of the kind of feeling around the club and their owners. They are completely at one, not just Fosun as a whole, but Jeff Shee in particular. Yeah. Very similar to the whole Daniel Levy situation. Jeff Shee puts out
Wolves fans are wrong about that, as like they were about Daniel Levy. Is that what we're saying? Yeah.
Well, who knows? But Jeff Shee's come out with some really odd things, like if you want to see your team win something, then maybe you shouldn't be supporting Wolves, and just stuff that you should never really be saying as the guy in charge of the club. And ultimately, the basic facts are: if you go back to the Wolves team of 4 or 5 years ago with Moutinho and Neves and Jota and players like that, and you compare that to what they've got now.
Did you see that story about 10 years ago? There was a jewelry company that was listed on the did an IPO in America, right? And it was a stock exchange company. It was doing quite well, and then the CEO got drunk and went on to an earnings call right after they did the results, and then said something to the tune of, I forget, I'm going to paraphrase it, but he basically said, "Yeah, look, we're absolutely fine because people can continue to buy this junk."
You're talking about Gerald Ratner, mate, from years and years ago.
Right, yeah. And the share price of that company collapsed overnight. Never recovered, right? So never piss on your own barbecue, sort of thing, right?
Wasn't that your boy talking about our football players that he signed?
Yeah,
Daniel Levy said, these idiots still spend all this money coming to my stadium, and I'll give them this shit.
I'm just going to flesh that out very quickly. Gerald Ratner, in 1991, gave a 40-minute speech to the Institute of Directors dinner. Yeah. And basically, he just joked, right? And he just said, our jewelry's a load of old shit. And then that was the end of his company, pretty much. So.
He said his stuff is, we sell crap and people buy it, right? It tanked everyone and ruined his business, lost him his job, lost him multi-million pound, and he never really, truly recovered.
Never recovered. You wouldn't catch H. Samuel doing that. I want to ask you this, guys. I want to show you this. So Tottenham at the moment are linked with a few players. One of them is Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, good luck.
Ooh.
Right, waste of time.
Can I just bring up Morgan Rogers? If we think that Morgan Rogers, according to his stats, is something that is going to be the killer that makes us more creative, right? Obviously, I know he plays on a left wing forward or whatever, but as a midfielder that's now being played more centrally, just compare that. Right? So his key passes is good. Progressive passes is in the bottom 46th percentile. Forward passes completed 4th percentile. forward pass completed percentage, second percentile, like bottom of the players. If Morgan Rogers is the solution, let me get him up here again. First of all, he's barely any better than he's worse than the version of him last season. That was him last season. Similar sorts of plays, right? He was brilliant at carrying. Now he's half as good at carrying as he was. He's still terrible at possessions won. He's still terrible at forward pass completion. Except he's a worse player, but he's still a similar player, just worse at doing it. But isn't this like, I'm trying to compare him to the players that we have.
I'm always suspicious, Sean. This is Data MB, is it?
Yeah, Data MB. Yeah, it's taking the information from FB refs. It's just prettier to see it, basically. But
I'm suspicious about the veracity of their data sometimes. I remember comparing keepers once, and it told me that was it Donnarumma at PSG had saved every single shot he'd faced 2 seasons ago, and I'm like, it's just nonsense. So I'm always, and I've got degree in stats. I'm always a little bit suspicious.
No, it's not like if you're in the 100th percentile for goals saved or for shots saved, it doesn't mean that you've saved 100% of.
No. This was shot percentage saved. But
the percentage
depends on the underlying data, right? And if the underlying data is wrong, you're going to be in the wrong percentile. So
but the percentage saved is a relative performance to every other goalkeeper. So he might be at 50%.
But this was literally how many shots has he let in? How many shots has he saved? That's a conversation. All the stats are completely wrong a number of times when I've checked these things out.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Well, then let's not bother with that one then. But
this is the problem with stats, though, is unless you're boring enough to really drill into where do these stats come from and are they actually valid, most of us as fans won't. But we will look at the analysis and we just assume that those stats are gathered accurately, right? So just looking at that pinwheel you had of Rodgers there, my gut feeling is that wasn't accurate data.
I mean, I think he's comparing it to stats, though, to data that he's not necessarily expected to do. Like, he's not supposed to win the ball back on duels and things. But João Gomez is a player that I think would make us fantastic. Like he'd be the guy that would be, for me, someone that can elevate the ball forward. And apparently, he's not going to hang around at Wolves if they go down. Do you think there's any chance that Tottenham could go and get? I mean, there's a better version of João Gomez out there, which is Locatelli. Locatelli's stats are just insane, right? He's basically. He almost fills up that entire octagon or whatever it is to look at. Paratici's apparently sniffing around Locatelli. Also, Paratici is apparently, like I saw a rumour this morning that Tottenham Hotspur are actually quite confident that they can compete in January, as early as January, for Keenan Yildiz. Do you guys actually think that Tottenham have any chance of getting hold of someone like Keenan Yildiz?
No, but we will go to Lookman because Lookman has unfollowed Atlanta, unfollowed his teammates, and I think Lookman is more, is a player. I reckon whatever you may think of him, I know that his reputation has preceded him, but
I think we should steer massively clear of him.
Of Lookman,
yeah.
Despite
we know he falls out with everybody, and B, there's got to be a reason why you're hawked around every single decent club in the summer and not one. Well,
no, he was going to Inter Milan. In fairness, Chris,
he was hawked around every single club, Johnny, including Tottenham, right? And they didn't go for him.
No, he was going to Inter Milan.
After that fell through, he was offered to every club, mate. Every club, and not one. It's everywhere on the internet. You just have to look at it.
Including type in Lookman transfer, and he's linked with like every single football club.
It's known publicly, right, that he wasn't going to get picked in the Champions League squad and everything. They weren't going to play him, so everybody knows he's available. And you're telling me that not one club across Europe wanted him, and there's no reason for that, and he's a good egg.
Because if you know Chris at Atalanta, people came in and did want him. They wanted to take him out on loan. But Atalanta would only be interested in a full sale, and they wanted 42 million euros. Okay, so
which is nothing for a player of his ability, right? Absolutely nothing. So you're telling me that no club across the whole of Europe will pay 42 million euros for Lookman? It doesn't make any sense.
I agree with Chris on this, because I think you look at Lookman and you go, there's got to be a reason why they completely writ off any loan deal. They wanted this guy off their books quickly. Like, my point is if for example, you fall out of favour at a club.
Good player,
and you
though,
go,
mate.
okay,
Good player.
No, it could be, but equally, it could also be. I think
a bit of a donut. There's lots of donuts out there that still put the ball in the back of the net and do things.
Garnacho's an arsehole, but he's a good.
Garnacho's different. I wouldn't put Garnacho in the same conversation. I think the biggest issue with what Chris is. By the way, I think if you got him, I'm not against it. If we got him as a football, my issue is you're bringing baggage along with you, right? Then you've got to if his baggage starts unraveling and opening up, and then you've got to deal with that, and then he falls out with players at this club. Like there is potential that it couldn't happen. It may not happen, but is it worth taking the risk on?
You wouldn't take him on loan. You wouldn't take him on loan.
I'd have him on loan with an option to buy him. Yeah, if you could get him for 6 months with an option to buy him.
Yeah.
And my point is, if you go and sign him, then you've got to deal with it. So I agree. If you have an option where you can sign him on an option on loan, option of 45 million quid, for example, just to picking a number out.
His contract runs out in the summer.
Well,
so
No, I think it runs out
in the summer.
2027, I think it is.
He's got.
I literally just googled it and it says 2026.
On transfer market it says 27.
I think they've got
again,
1 year.
Again, the accuracy of the underlying stats, right, Sean? Who knows?
It's a good point. Touche, Lafleur. Touche.
But yeah, look, I think if you get someone like that on loan, I think that's the sort of player I would. If you're in the loan market in January, you go, that's sensible bit of business. If, for example, he comes in and in 6 months you go, groundbreaking, look at what we've got here, you sign him, definitely.
Suffer from a lot of racism in Italy, Perchi. And to be truthful with you, the club didn't really help him. A bit like the Victor Osimhen debacle, where they did some shitty things. I'm not saying, listen, I don't condone his behaviour because shit behaviour is shit behaviour.
There's going to be reasoning for it, right? Of course.
But, listen, I wouldn't take him on a purchase, but I would definitely take him on a loan, 100%.
If you get the option there on loan, I think that's a good bit. That's sensible bit of business, right? That's sensible business that you can get in. Again, if it turns out, as Chris is saying, makes valid points on it, and you go, oh God, this guy's a proper donut. God, now I sound like Sean. It's even more annoying. But yeah, look, then you get rid of him.
And you like someone else, Perchy.
Huh? Yeah, no, look.
Listen, donut, mate. I haven't copywritten it or anything, so you can use it as much as you like, mate. It's a lovely.
I use it too much. I use it too much in normal life now. I go, you absolute donut, and I always have to sit back and go, I sound like fucking Sean all the time. Like, I just don't wanko Rodeber of an evening. That's the difference. But look, I think
Rodeber I don't wank over him either. I not of an evening anyway. Maybe in the morning when I first wake up.
It's the morning session.
I'm a morning guy.
The dog. No, look, I think Yildiz. I think you mentioned Yildiz. I think if he's the sort of player that I wouldn't think we have an opportunity to get. But there's a weird part of me about thinking that someone like Paratici might be able to wangle something on that. Maybe his Juve links, you don't know. Let me ask this, right?
Would you rather Ivan Toney, a January window, Ivan Toney and Ademola Lookman, or would you rather Locatelli and
I'm just laughing already.
And Francolino Jew of Michelin fame.
Oh, okay.
We love a Jew.
Another Jew. Yeah, it's a Jewish fan base. DJU. Or would you rather Samu Agahawa and João Gomez?
Oh God, that's it. Oh, that's a great one. I'm gonna pick. Wait, see, the option one was Lookman and Toney, wasn't it? I'm going that one. That's my pick. If they were the three options, I'm picking the first one. Even though I do think we are desperate for a central midfielder that can control like a Locatelli, I just look at and go, Tony almost guarantees you goals in the Premier League. So, and Lookman's a good football player. So yeah, I'd have those two. I think Samu Aguao is a weird one, right? The Porto bloke. Everything tells me this kid is going to be a top player, which I don't want to sort of go over the top with, and then he ends up not really doing it. But
you got that same vibe about Pavlidis as well, haven't you?
I like Pavlidis. I think he's a good footballer. I think he's one of those though that actually could. He seems physically built to do it though. That's the thing. I think he looks like a good player. But again, it's then you're looking at 28, 29-year-olds, which I'm not against us getting. But if you can get an Ivan Toney at 29, I'm looking going. You get him for 2 or 3 seasons. I feel like you've got a winner in a goal scorer, a proper goal scorer there.
I'd probably go for
Johnny first. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, mate. If I was fantasy, I'd probably go for Zhu and Locatelli. But if I'm thinking how they would sort the squad out right now, I'd go for Lookman and Vlahovic on loan and save my money for the summer.
That wasn't an option.
They weren't in the options. You can't pick an option that wasn't there.
Pick my own. It's pick and mix.
Johnny plays this isn't rules, okay? Johnny
this isn't footballing.
To my options, he goes option D. My fucking team.
Yeah, but Johnny, this isn't some Football Inc. channel. This is the Spurs talk show. This is a reputable Spurs YouTube channel.
So I'll go for was it Lookman and Tony? Yeah. I'll go for Lookman and Tony on loan.
That's what I went for.
Yeah,
I'd agree on the proviso that Lookman's on loan.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Aguao
worries me. I have general worries about, 2 things. One, players that have only had like one stellar season. I know he's really young, but
one season wonders, Chris. Bit like that Harry Kane geezer.
Well, I mean, we didn't sign him, right? But our history is littered with players who have joined a club for like hardly any money, had one great season, and then we sign them 12 months later for 10 times the price. And there's Lo Celso's, there's loads of examples, Janssens, all sorts. So he might turn into a great player, Aguao, but I think we need players who are more out the box ready, and there's too many question marks over him for me. I have question marks anyway about the quality of the Portuguese league once you're down past about 3 or 4 of the top teams. So I'd steer clear of him for me for that reason.
Portuguese league.
Yeah, that's not to say we're obsessed again as a fan base in absolutes, right? We're like, he's come from this league, so he must be crap or he must be brilliant. Well, there's always going to be examples of players who make it and players who don't, right? So, but nonetheless, I would still have concerns over those 2 things. That I'd
would you take Chris? Would you take Vlahovic or Jonathan David?
Oh God, I mean, I'm not.
My answer
either, really, to be honest. But again, are we talking about signing them or on loan or?
Yeah, signing them. Let's say you have to drop 10 million on Vlahovic, 15 million, whatever, something like that. But you have to pay him, top earner status, like 220 grand. He's not going to get his 300 grand a week at Tottenham, but let's say he gets 220, something like that. But you sign him on a 3 or 4 year deal, right? Maybe potential problems in the not too distant future. And with Jonathan David, they signed him on a freebie, basically just to flip him. So, and he hasn't really done that well, or at least he hasn't embedded himself in the Juve team. But he's got a good record everywhere else he's been and at every standard of football he's played. So, and I think Jonathan David will probably cost you like 30 million quid, but you'd probably only have to pay him 150.
Yeah, you probably pay him more for Jonathan David, right? So, but I mean, if you're nailing me down, I've got to choose between the 2. I'd go for Jonathan David. I just think Vlahovic doesn't command that sort of status and salary that he will expect anymore. And I think it builds in too big a risk. If you play out, this is a really positive way of looking at it. If you play out the 2 worst case scenarios, i.e. they come in and they're not very good, I think signing Vlahovic does more damage to you than David. So I'd go. Hopefully we could be positive and they'd be brilliant. But I also think there's room for Jonathan David to grow into Spurs, whereas Vlahovic comes in, he is what he is. Is he a little bit of a busted flush compared to the standards he set previously? It's just not a risk, and his age as well. They're the same age, actually. I didn't realise. I thought he was older, Vlahovic.
I'm actually a massive
I'd still
fan
pick
of Jonathan David. I have been probably for the last 2 years. Taken probably a year for some people to come on board with him because you need to prove yourself across the board. But
don't dig at me.
No, look, you're not alone, Sean. Loads, many. I've
He's
listened.
improved. If he was still the same player that he was a year ago, I wouldn't be on board it. But he's improved his game a little bit. That's all.
Left foot, right foot. He scores everywhere. You're not going to be forcing him onto his weak foot like you can with a lot of players I'm not going to go into that negates their talent. And listen, I'll be honest with you, all this praise for Kudus, I think at the moment is misplaced. The guy needs to up his game. I think his delivery is not good enough. He's
looking for corners, mate. That's the problem. He's looking for corners.
He does not pick his head up. Sometimes he holds on to the ball too long. And 1 goal, and was it 1 goal, 3 assists?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. I don't think he's a good enough.
Mathys Tel scored more goals than him.
I don't think it's a good enough return for a player everyone is lauding as like the Messiah at Spurs, So for me, Jonathan David has that left foot, right foot. He has a fantastic eye for goal. We need people that are going to finish their dinner, and he's one for me that just keeps proving it.
Perchy, let me ask you this last question. Then we ran off in 4 or 5 minutes, guys, and I'll redirect you guys over. I think there's another show I'll redirect you. It might be Savas. I'm not sure if Savas going live or what he's doing, but I'll find the redirect for you guys. Hang around for the next 4 or 5 minutes. Perchy, I'll start with you. Johnny and I we talk all summer about transfers, right? And we were saying that the market was very wet for certain positions that are quite usually traditionally dry. And I'm looking around now in the Premier or in Europe, and I'm thinking, is the market super dry, or does it still have enough little like dew on the grass to be able to plant a seed here in the January window? We know that January is difficult, right? We know that January is difficult, but there are players like Francolino that are massively risky. But for me, this guy, if we're considering the trend around physicality, bigger, faster, stronger, that sort of thing being important, then you've got Samu Agahawa, but he's going to cost a fortune. Francolino is going to end up in a team, maybe not in the Premier League, maybe he'll go Serie A or Germany first or whatever, but he's going to leave Denmark at some point. He came from the Benfica Academy. Brilliant player. Mm-hmm. I really like him. There's other players like Jonathan David, like Vlahovic. There is Pavlidis. It's not a bone dry market in the striker market, right? But January is very difficult. Now, on the other hand, you've got the left wing issue for Tottenham, and you have players you have a lot of players out there that might be willing to be able to get in January if there is enough money thrown on the table. Kenan Yildiz might end up leaving. I think he'll definitely leave in the summer, but he might end up leaving in January. Players like Semenyo, players like Lookman. But then you've got the emergence of Udogie. I know none of you three are on board him to the point that I am, but
no, I rate him, Sean. But I just think
he should still be this. He should still be a rotation player right now.
Yeah. No, listen. We write people off, we build them up, or we write them off. There's no middle ground, right? The kid's young. He's come here. He had a terrible injury last season. We can see signs of improvement. That's what we ask for from our managers. Show us improvement in the players, the young players, and we've definitely seen it in Wilson Odobert, 100%.
So on the left wing, then, I'll start with Perch, but we go everywhere we go. On the left wing, you've got Liverpool, you've got Arsenal that are definitely looking for left wingers, but there's probably 3 or 4 players that are top draw that are available on the left wing, Perchy, right? If you were to pay the money, you could get Semenyo out of Bournemouth. You could, if you paid a ridiculous amount of money. I'm not saying he would come to Tottenham. I'm saying he might go to Arsenal. He might go to Liverpool. You could get Juve are in a horrendous amount of financial difficulties. You could, if you paid the right money, get Kenan Yildiz out. You could. You do have Lookman. There's other players out there. Malik Fofana. I know he's just currently injured, but he's one of them. Iliman Ndiaye from Everton, who can play off the right wing or the left wing. Right? Is that a versatile player that you want? Because I think the argument is right that Lookman for me, not Lookman, sorry, Kudus for me. We rely on him so much to the point where he gets a little bit greedy and selfish, and his output isn't particularly special. If you were to go and get Iliman Ndiaye from Everton and pay them a lot of money to let them do what they need to do to go and afford a Francolino, for example, Could you go and get him? I believe that there is a market that's wet enough in the left wing spot where of the 3 teams that you're probably bottom of the pecking order for, you could still you could still lose out to both of them on their first choices, but still land with a monster player on the left wing issue. So for me, Perchy, I want to ask you, what is the priority? One position, one player, one position. Is it left wing? Is it striker? Is it midfielder?
Great question, because there's a few that I would say. It's a really hard. Do you know what? It's a really hard question to really give in the beginning of November, right? Because we could get to January for all we know, and Kolo Muani's gone and scored 10 goals, and he's now firing. And then you go, well, hello to you. We can be really firing, and you go, well, the strike is not important. But we could equally get to January, and the collection of Solanke, Richalison, and Kolo Muani have really struggled to score considerable amount of goals. Then you go, well, that has to be a priority because we need someone that is going to start scoring goals. Left wing's another good example where I kind of use that was, well, do you just put Wilson Odobert in there? I know you're a big fan. We don't have to keep repeating it, but
I did that idea, Perchy.
No, it's just Sean. It's just Sean. I'm shocked he hasn't got one hanging up yet, but it's shirt yet. But I did see a signed one that I was debating to see, but I don't like Sean that much. I was having a look on Match One's.
Could be out for 2 months, according to Boston, with a bad jaw break.
He got. That was why he got subbed off. So all those people that sit there and blame Thomas Frank for subbing off, that was clearly the reason he got subbed off.
He's got a broken jaw.
Yeah, he broke it. He got his jaw broken before. Yeah. That's why he
Harry
got subbed
Maguire.
off.
When I jumped up and started saying, "What's the referee not done?" "Oh, sit down, mate. It was nothing. He was just making us what they all do, right?" Yeah, he played
jaw from Harry Maguire.
Yeah, that's why he got subbed off at halftime. But
fair enough. All right.
But yeah. So now that's another. We'll use that as an example. So now you sit there and go, "We've now lost a striker."
So with that, now we've got 11 injuries now, have we?
Yeah. So I think the biggest. So if we're talking about issues at the football club at the moment, I think the biggest issue is centre midfielder that is a proper ball player in midfield. However, I don't think it's the big issue right now in the sense of I think it's either a left wing or a striker for me. You've got to go and get someone in that is going to score goals. As I said, if now with Kolo Muani out, you've kind of got to now rely on Richarlison until XYZ, or then you've equally then got to throw in someone like Dane Scarlett, who I personally don't see the point of at the moment. I think it'd be crazy to. So, yeah, striker. I'm going to go.
Without Kolo Muani, it's definitely a striker. If that's the case,
has to be. Yeah, that's my point. Without him,
we are screwed. That's the first news.
That's so bad. That's really taking the jam out of the donut.
He left it. Maguire knew exactly what he'd done. You know, the referee didn't even have a word with him. No one had a word with anybody.
I've got to interject that there's not a chance in 5 billion years that the referee is seeing that. It's completely off the ball.
VAR, I'm talking about, Chris.
That's different, but that's not the ref, right? Let's just make the distinction between the two.
Right, okay. I know you're in the ref business, but I'm saying the VAR, if VAR is there for anything, I've jumped up off of my seat and said,
I didn't even see this. Let me
I'll be honest, I never saw it either.
Chris, I don't think they ever showed. I'm pretty sure they didn't show it on the TV.
So yeah, I'd have to see the video to really have an opinion on it.
That's the moment there, right?
Yeah, stills are very misleading. So,
obviously, the referee
knew exactly what he'd done.
The referee's looking at over here on the left with Pelini, I think that is.
Yeah, sure.
I can't understand it. So, is he literally just? Has something happened before that, or has he just absolutely just turned around and just bodied him?
Beginning of the game. It's the beginning of the game. He's done that, and he's gone down, and it's like.
But it's so off the ball. How's the VAR not seen it?
That's where you need to see the video to get an idea, really.
It stills a very misleading one. I think what Chris is trying to say. I think you could argue. No, I'm not going to defend it because I didn't. Oh yeah, someone said they didn't. Watching it from home, they didn't show it on TNT. But it looks like he's trying to make a run, isn't it? And Maguire's tried to block his run like past him. It looked
That should
from
be
that angle.
retrospectively banned, and not that injuries should dictate a severity of a punishment, but it kind of does. I remember when Sonny broke that geezer's leg at Everton, and he was sent off, even though the challenge was more than reasonable, in my opinion. But
it just depends. If he's blocking him off like that, that's not a red card offence. If he's gone for him like that, that's a completely different scenario.
Yeah.
You got to remember, you can't judge. I take your point, Sean, but I also remember Alan Smith broke both his legs when the ball hit him from a clearance. So you can't just go on the outcome of the injury, right? So
no, but you listen. I hear what you're saying, Chris, but I saw his reaction, and you could see he went with his face, and like straight away, Maguire knew what he'd done, and then when the referee came over, he was like, "Get up, mate," The usual.
Yeah, I mean the rest not going to know. So, but I don't. Without seeing the video, I can't give you any opinion other than that, which is the clue usually with elbows is your palm. So when you're jumping for leverage, you have your palm open. When you're actually trying to make contact to cause injury, you have your palm shut. That's a good indicator, and if you can see that in the picture, that will give you an idea. But
yeah. I've been watching football too long to not know that when you know you've got the most dangerous person on the pitch and you make yourself known. It's the oldest one.
There's a difference though, Johnny, isn't there? There's a difference between it could potentially be deliberate to block him as opposed to deliberate to take him out in his face. So, we have to sort of see what it is. I don't know. I can't offer an opinion without seeing the video.
So does that mean, are we all agreed then that right now the striker then has to be the priority? If we're now without Muani for a couple of months, then it has to be a striker, right?
I think it depends. I think it depends on what opportunities come before you in the market, right? So, for example, just one set of scenarios. If Solanke is back playing, so you got Solanke and Tel probably as your strikers, and it's realistic that you go to Bournemouth and they say, and Semenyo agrees and no one else is in for him, and they say, yes, you can have him if you pay us 80 million. Take the bloody opportunity. Don't worry about it. Take the opportunity. If that's a one-off opportunity, someone like Semenyo in, get him in. So I'm not 100%. It has to be a striker.
All right. All right, guys. Listen, massive thank you to everyone for joining. I'm not sure. Oh, actually, I've got some more super chats. My apologies. I didn't see these. Super Spurs. Blaine's come back in again. Blaine, big up to you, my mate. Says, lads, would love your views on a big criticism I have of Frank. Why does he persevere with Richie? It's baffling what trust or what he sees. I think we just kind of covered that.
Got no choice now.
Took him off now. Well, but maybe he also took him off during the game. Obviously, now we know why. Because I was questioning that in my video afterwards. Now I know that there was an injury. Makes a little bit more sense. And yeah, he's got no choice. He's got no choice now, has he? Big up to you, Blaine, mate. I hope you're okay. Thank you very much indeed. We've got Ian JD says, my mistake. I want Frank to have 4 years at the club. I think he's a great manager and will do wonders at this club. He needs backing though. Not sure what you were saying about your mistake. I'm not sure what that means, but there must have been a previous part of the conversation that we missed. I'll start with 1 year personally. I'll start with 1 year and see how he gets on. I'm not going to marry myself to anyone for 4 years when he's not impressing me that far.
I think we all want him to have 4 years because presumably if he's here in 4 years' time, it must have gone pretty well. So
yeah, of course. I want everyone to stay forever, but only on merit. Only on merit. Big up to you, Ian. Thank you very much indeed. And Roy, big up to you, Roy. PS2QL says, I love the show as always. Come on, you Spurs. I appreciate you, mate. Appreciate you very much indeed.
Roy.
I appreciate all of you guys for joining. And I appreciate you guys in the chat. Please get over to Football Inc. Please get over to @SpursCC on Twitter. And Perchy, have you got something? Are we plugging something for you?
Yeah, you can go and subscribe and watch my old channel videos. There's nothing on there. There's not much new. I'm not doing anything new at the moment. So,
not FM26. You haven't got any say.
Oh, we are. If someone mentioned it in the chat,
actually, but I've got to tell these guys.
No. Well, hang on. Go away. He can't mention this.
No, you got to mention it. Now you have to mention it.
Last week we were on a stream together, and we went back backstage. And Perchy, we're talking about Football Manager, and Perchy was like, just watch this next game. He's like, I'm unbeaten with Spurs so far this season. It was away at Southampton in the League Cup. this is a couple of seasons in, but they were 11th, weren't they, in the Championship? And it finished 5-0 to Southampton.
I was like, oh, let me just have a quick game and I'll just show you how the gameplay works. Absolutely spank. That was on the beta. That was on the beta. It doesn't count. Currently,
that was on the basis it doesn't count. Did you turn the computer off without saving it? Did you purchase? Is that what you did?
No. That was just the beta. So the game's actually now launched. I started with Tamworth, so we're doing well. Second season in. So,
what are you in the league? What are you in League One?
No. Still in the national. We're third in the national at the moment. We just want to get promoted into the football league. Been offered several jobs in women's football. Woo. And I'm
undercover.
Yeah.
I got offered a few jobs. MK Dons wanted me. I turned them down. But yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's good if you got it. It's good. It's all right. It's good. Bit of fun.
How many hours a day do you spend playing FM?
At the moment, when I'm working, I don't. But yeah, like when I've got a bit of time, I play.
Yeah, you do. You work from home. One screen is email, one screen is FM, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Quick sandwich break.
Let's not expose my football my football manager obsessions.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Obsessions.
Good luck to you, Percy. Good luck to Tamworth. Johnny, I'll speak to you after. We're gonna do football.
Boreham Wood, mate. Up the wood, top of the National League. Praise God, we get in there this year.
Up the wood. Appreciate you, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all. See you later on for another video from me. I'll see you later on. Take care as always. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.